Peace, love, and prosperity to all of humanity on planet Earth. I am Abdul Smith Bey of AMPAG, and today we'll be discussing because we're just getting started here, kind of late. Uh, Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations and consular notification and access. Um, let's see here. So we completed the WRC discussion. Got to get it back up on the YouTube channel. Did anyone on the line? Did anyone on the line had any questions about the WRC? What we discussed the last couple start of the WRC, and so with it comes with when you become a diplomat, especially the wazir and the chief judge, especially the chief judges, all the judges, you automatically gain full privileges and immunities under international law. You get those protections. Judges, because they're judges are usually under heavy attack because obviously nobody likes judges, right? When you're the losing party, you don't like the judge, but when you're the winning party, obviously you're cool with the judge. So, like for example, the United States has their own process on consular notification and access. So there's a question here coming from the Department of State, Bureau of Consular Affairs, as you see here on the screen. You guys can see my screen? All right. I hope so. Can you all see my screen?
I can see it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wonder if I need to increase it. I'd like for somebody to read this here. It says, what is consular notification and access? Okay. Somebody answer that question for me. Just by reading it. It's right there. Where it says in the United States. Can you guys see the writing, or do I need to increase?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
I'm trying to screen. Okay. In the United States, foreign governments have embassies, a foreign government headquarters in Washington, D.C., and consulate, branches offices in other cities. Both embassies and consulates provide assistance to that country's citizens in the United States. When foreign nationals are arrested or detained.
Right there. So, you have like Hujo, for example, and others would say, well, we're home. We don't need a consulate, right? Well, that's true. But they're confusing it with consular court. However, see, your consulate is for foreign affairs. So what is the United States to Morocco? Foreigners, right? We should have a consulate in DC, in their jurisdiction, and they should have a consulate in our jurisdiction. Make sense? However, in this particular case, I would say we are the sovereign authority on the land in Morocco, right? So they have to adhere to Moroccan law nonetheless. But the United States writing this and putting this together, yeah, I see who it was that called. I'm sorry, I'm kind of like multitasking. It's for foreign states. So you remember that the United States, they're operating as if the Moors just don't even exist, right? They have just taken over everything. So they are the competent authority on this land, or have been up until now, right? So they needed to have they needed to have created a consular notification access manual or handbook, because they're seeking to adhere to and respect this right here, the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations, even though they dropped the ball with the Legrand brothers, which at some point we might get into that. I don't think we'll be getting into that today. This is a last minute throw together presentation um, without any deep research. So usually I like to put in some time in researching and looking at different aspects of one particular subject matter before presenting it. But I didn't have the time to do it this week. But so this has really just been put together, thrown together for the people, just to have another class. So as the competent authority by default, because the Moors have been acquiescing, right? They have taken over control of everything. So in order to respect or honor the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations, they had to put together the Consular Notification and Access Manual or handbook that what's this? Okay. Uh uh Pursuant to the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations. Continue, brother. When foreign nationals.
When foreign nationals are arrested or detained, they must be advised of the options to have the closest consulate or the embassy notified for 56 countries. The closest consulate or the embassy must be notified regardless of the foreign national's wishes. This is council notification.
Right. So excuse me, what that's saying is if they arrest or detain any one of our government officials, right, they must notify the consular agent of that state. They also and release him immediately to that competent authority, not hold on to him, right? And that's what took place with the Legrand brothers. They held on to the Legrand brothers, and executed the Legrand brothers, even though the ICJ told them not to. That's a very interesting case. We ought to look into that at some point. Continue, brother.
Foreign government officials are entitled to communicate with their nationals in the United States, jails and prisons to check on their welfare and provide counselor assistance. They may contact family, ensure legal representation and medical care, or provide reading materials. This is counselor access.
Okay, so one thing is consular notification, and the other one is consular access. Access to who? Your detained nationals. Brittany Griner was another example of consular notification and access, or the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations at play. Even though she wasn't a government official, but she is still a national of the United States who was detained in foreign territory. So back to the notification, it says when foreign nationals are arrested or detained, they must be advised of the option to have the closest consulate or the embassy notified. For 56 countries, the closest consulate or the embassy must be notified regardless of the foreign national wishes. This is consular notification. So even if they don't even if the foreign national doesn't want you to notify their competent authority of their state, right? You still have to do it according to the consular notification. Then it goes on to say foreign government officials are entitled to communicate with their nationals in U.S. jails and prisons to check on their welfare and provide consular assistance. They may contact family, ensure legal representation and medical care, or provide reading material. This is consular access, access to your national to identify his well-being, share things with him, reading materials, etc. I mean, it's right there in the writing. So if they were to violate that, then they're violating their own policies and procedures that they created for the United States, because this is created for the United States created this. This is them adhering to the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations, especially as it relates to government officials. So if they do that to us, our several states, then they're violating their own policies and procedures. Will they do it? Probably so. Because and why would they why do I say probably so? Because to to um adhere to their own consular notification and access handbook as it relates to our nationals is to do what? Recognize our state. And if they recognize our state, what would they have to adhere to? Moroccan law. So they're playing um or we are playing a chess match here. It's a chess game that's being played to get them, right, to adhere to Moroccan laws. That's our move. And their moves is whatever it takes to kind of like ignore it and pretend and act as though this isn't happening. But they can only ignore it but for so long until they got to do something about this. And so what must we do? Continue our chess moves, because in doing so, we're applying pressure, and pressure busts pipes. Islam, continue, brother.
Council notification and access are mutual obligations based in treaties between the United States government and foreign governments.
Based in treaties, consular notification and access are mutual obligations. They're mutual obligations based in treaties between states in general. Obviously, they're specifying between the U.S. government and foreign governments. So, what is a foreign government to the U.S. government? AMPAG, DMT, Ampani, Serum, right? Maru, New Mecca. These are foreign governments to the U.S. government. However, and vice versa. However, the U.S. government, especially as a municipal or federal corporation, but even under the United States of America Republic, they still fall under the authority of Moroccan law, nonetheless. But again, this has been put together as the competent authority of the land because the heirs of the land, the indigenous people of the land, have been acquiescing, right? If anyone was supposed to write this, it should have been us, right? If anyone was supposed to have foreign affairs and foreign dealings, it is us. Not saying that the United States of America wouldn't have those procedures and operations, right? But we're supposed to be the ones leading the political operations in Morocco, not the foreign colonies. Islam, continue, brother. The prompt.
The prompt, courteous offer to the foreign national of the possibility of consular assistance, and the prompt, courteous notification to the foreign national's nearest consulate or the embassy so that they can provide consular services helps. Hold on, I'm gonna repeat that. Let me go. Let me start right there. I'm gonna start at that. That they can provide consular services helps us model how we want U.S. citizens treated in a similar situation overseas by providing appropriate consular notification and consular access to foreign governments. We help ensure that U.S. citizens have the same protections if arrested or detained abroad.
So you see, it's like they want things to take place in like manner. Right? So it says the prompt, courteous offer to the foreign national of give consular assistance and the prompt, courteous notification to the foreign nationals nearest consulate or the embassy can provide consular services helps us model how we want U.S. citizens treated in a similar situation overseas. Like who? Brittany Griner, right? By providing appropriate consular notification and consular access to foreign governments, we help ensure that U.S. citizens have the same protections if arrested or detained abroad. Well, guess what? Our Moroccan nationals and government officials are seeking the same respect. You see, so we can use these same words and flip it against them. The only difference between us and them at this very moment is that we don't have a police force to enforce our Moroccan law yet because we haven't enforced decolonization. But once we force decolonization, we take control of the police and the military, right? Through and under Moroccan law. So they want other nations to respect their citizens when arrested over abroad. So in order to receive that respect, they're talking about giving it. Fair enough. Well, when it comes on to Moroccan nationals, how will you respond, United States? Right? Because if you're gonna stand on your word, this is in your own documents. These words came out of your mouth. Let's look at the steps to follow when a foreign national is arrested. Go ahead, brother.
You say determine, number one, right? Determine.
Oh, no, it says the steps to follow when a foreign national is arrested or detained in the U.S.
Steps to follow when a foreign national is arrested or detained in the U.S. Refer to the following for detailed information on the council notification and access processes. Contact info for foreign embassies and consulates. Council notification and access manual. Council notification pocket reference card. Council notification process flowchart.
Let's see what those things look like. So, what was that?
I was curious about the pocket reference card. I've seen the actual document that's in the back of the council notification and access actual document. I actually spoke the other day. Me and Chief Justice actually spoke with HPD policy enforcer about that. But just as me getting more intelligent, me speaking to him in the way that he answered the questions, he's not properly trained to deal with a foreign national or a diplomat.
That's
and
right.
I let him know that.
And many of them aren't. So this is the Consular Notification and Access Manual from the United States. Fifth edition. And so how long has the United States been around? Okay, so let's see. So the United States has been around since the 1700s, whatever, right? And when did the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations come out? That was 1961, I believe, or 63. Is it on the document? 1961. Okay. So now, look how long it took for them to put it together. 2018. But they did it nonetheless, right? So this is the Consular Notification and Access Handbook or Manual. It's pretty lengthy. Perhaps we should go over it at some point. Obviously, we won't go over it today. Let me read real quick about this manual. Let's determine what this manual is all about. Let me increase the font. Come on. All right.
Point of privilege before you start, Chairman. And this is one of the first manuals that I read. When I read this would let me kind of know, like, the Moorish Americans didn't know what they was talking about. When I read this process, how they were dealing with him. And I never heard Islam.
Well, the Moorish American paradigm doesn't talk about decolonization at all, or high-level governmental activities. They only talk about, enforcing the Constitution and dealing with things domestically, as subjugated Moors, utilizing the foreigners' laws for their remedy. That's asinine and pretty backwards. So it says here about this manual. This manual contains instructions and guidance relating to the obligations of federal, state, and local government officials to provide information to foreign consular officers and to permit foreign consular officers to assist their nationals in the United States and to permit foreign consular officers, right? So that will be your consul general, for example. They're supposed to give your consul general access to your national if any of your nationals have been detained. But more importantly and more appropriately for us as Moroccans, they're supposed to release them, right, to the consul general. It focuses on the obligations of consular notification and access that pertain to the arrest and detention of foreign nationals, the appointment of guardians for minor and adult foreign nationals, deaths and serious injuries of foreign nationals, and wrecks or crashes of foreign ships or aircraft on U.S. territory. It also addresses related issues pertaining to the provision of consular services by foreign consular officers to their nationals in the United States. The instructions and guidance in this manual pertain to all foreign nationals in the United States, regardless of their legal status, right? This manual is designed to help ensure that foreign governments, which is AMPAG, New Mecca, etc. This manual is designed to help ensure that foreign governments can extend appropriate consular services to their nationals in the United States. And see, we don't have jails, right? So we can't, it wouldn't be in like manner for us because we wouldn't have any of their Americans in our Moorish jails because we don't have that yet, right? So it's kind of like one-sided. Right. This manual is designed to help ensure that foreign governments can extend appropriate consular services to their nationals in the United States and that the United States complies with its legal obligation to such governments. So the United States wants to comply with their legal obligations to the government, to the foreign government. Where is that uh, obligation derived from? The Vienna Convention on Consular Relations, 1961. These legal obligations arise primarily, there it goes right here. These legal obligations arise primarily from treaties, which form part of the supreme law of the land under Article 6 of the U.S. Constitution. So they just told you that treaties is the supreme law of the land under Article 6. We even told you what article. The instructions and guidance contained in this manual must be followed by all federal, state, and local government officials, whether law enforcement, judicial, or other, insofar as they pertain to foreign nationals subject to the official's authority or the matters within the official's competence. Go ahead, Camden, you had something? I think I seen you raise your hand.
Oh no, that was earlier. That was earlier. Let me let it down. I apologize, Chairman.
Compliance with these instructions and guidance will also help ensure that the United States can insist upon rigorous compliance by foreign governments with respect to U.S. So you see, so they're saying them complying to these rules, these international rules, ensures that they can hold others accountable. So they want to be able to hold others accountable. So in order for them to hold others accountable, they first have to adhere to those rules themselves, right? By foreign governments with respect to U.S. nationals abroad, and will help prevent both international and domestic litigation, right? The Department of State appreciates the assistance of all federal, state, and local government officials in helping to achieve these objectives. If you have any questions not addressed in this manual, write or call Consular Notification and Access. So that's the contact information for the U.S. Department of State, Washington, D.C. Got a phone number, email, and website, right? So that's in a quick swoop, right, of information. That's what consular notification and access is all about. So going over this, you'll see part 1, basic instructions, summary of requirements pertaining to foreign nationals, steps to follow when a foreign national is arrested or detained. So we got to remember, so we are Moroccan nationals, which means we are what? Foreign nationals. So they've already have the instructions set forth in their consular notification and access manual or handbook, right? Mandatory notification countries, flowchart of arrest or detention notification procedures, right? Part 2, detailed instructions on the treatment of foreign nationals, arrests and detentions of foreign nationals, notification required at the foreign national's request, the general rule, mandatory notification, the special rule, record keeping, consular access to detained foreign nationals, deaths, serious injuries, and serious illness of foreign nationals, appointments of guardians or trustees for foreign nationals, accidents involving foreign ships or aircraft. Frequently asked questions, right? Consular officers. What is consular officer? What is a consul? What is a consular official? How is a consular officer different from legal counsel? So, like the prophet said that he's going to leave the Europeans here long enough to teach us how to run government. But we didn't take advantage of those lessons. Because look at what look at what I'm reading. We're supposed to be studying these manuals. We're supposed to be studying this. We were as more as a uh, how can I put it? As Moors within the Moorish movement, right? Els and Beys, who are the lawgivers and the lawmakers, right? The fathers and mothers of civilization, who has taught everyone on planet Earth government, etc. These are the things that we were supposed to be studying to find an answer to our salvation. Instead of studying their constitution, you should have been studying their consular notification and access manual. We were supposed to be studying the Vienna Convention on diplomatic relations, period, first and foremost. We should have been studying decolonization. How is it that as Moors who are colonized, not talk about decolonization? The question is, do Moors know that they're even colonized? Why is that not a discussion in the Moorish movement? One of my customers, he's from Ghana. His name was Sammy. I asked him about Ghana, and he told me that Ghana is being colonized by Great Britain. I'm like, okay. So this brother here recognizes and knows, and if he does, then obviously the population of Ghana knows. They are conscious and know that they're being colonized. Moors, black people, blackamoors, we don't talk like that. We don't say, "Oh yeah, we're being colonized by the USA." I mean, am I wrong? Or I mean, if I'm incorrect here, please, anyone, correct me if I'm wrong. But that's not. We don't talk like that. The word colonize, far less even decolonization, does not come out of our mouths. What we talk about is white supremacy. What we talk about is racism, right? What we talk about is bigotry. What we talk about is discrimination. What we talk about is integration. What we talk about is going back to Africa, right? We talk about kicking them off the land, but what does that mean? That's the only way in which we talk about decolonization is when we say kicking them off the land. But that's not necessarily decolonization either. Those words don't come out of our mouths. We don't recognize colonization taking place, or we don't recognize the atrocities that we're dealing with as colonization. They have put us in a trick bag in that sense, because they got us believing that was taking place as white supremacy. It's not white supremacy, right? It's not racism. And it's certainly not the unum sanctum policy. It's colonization. That's the foundation for our issues within the American jurisdiction as subjugated Moors. This subjugation is colonization. So we know that Moors, black people, etc., are subjugated, but we don't recognize it as colonization. We don't talk about colonization. There's been more talks about going back to Africa than anything else. Why is that? I don't know. That's very interesting. However, in today's new paradigm of international law and statehood, we are talking about decolonization. And we're talking about decolonization in a major way. It's a heavy discussion. Where does the idea of that discussion come from? The Act of Algeciras. It's a decolonization document. It's a decolonization treaty, which is a contract that the United States of America signed and became party to, which means now they have obligations to the Act of Algeciras based on decolonization. Decolonization did not come to the consciousness of the Moors until the AMPAG study session surfaced. Why is that? The Moorish Temple of America have been around since 1913. All this time, no one ever talked about decolonization. It's horrible. Something ain't right with the Moorish movement. Something is not right with the Moorish movement. Our own in fezzes and turbans have put us back into slavery in a real smooth and slick manner. And I can't speak about too many others, but I can speak about one in particular, the Moorish, what is it called? Oh man, what is it called? The Moorish American Society of Philadelphia, with their resolution 75 of 1933, in which they took part in the thorough and speedy Americanization of the former Moors. Their name was implicated in that legislation. So I can point to them as sellouts in the Moorish movement, who took part in bamboozling us and leading us astray. Those are the dirty Moors who put us back into slavery, that Noble Ali was talking about. And he wasn't saying that because he's some prophet who sees the future. He was saying that because it was taking place with him right then and there at the same time, in real time, with the Moors during his time. He was speaking about the Moors of his time. And if the Moors of his time would do it, then he also knew that the Moors of the later times would as well. And they did. So that sellout, that corruption of the prophet's literature and his movement had it to where we never talked about decolonization. We never talked about this document here or anything to the sort. So what are we doing with the WRC? The WRC has taken this document here. So by the way, going back to it, consular officers. So like, for example, if, this would have been great study material for the Moors to determine what consular notification and access, what the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations, etc., what these things really mean. For example, it's telling you what is a consular officer, what is a consul, what is a consular official, how is a consular officer different from legal counsel, what is a honorary consul, right? Who is a foreign national? Is a foreign national the same as an alien? Are citizenship and nationality the same thing? Is a person with a green card, excuse me, a lawful permanent resident considered a foreign national? You see, they're giving you an answer to many questions, many answers to the test right there. Just read these documents because it was left behind for us to study and to identify, right, our liberation from our occupation. Instead, we're reading the Pope's letter and, Rex 87 plan and these things. Inter Caetera Divina, but we're not reading the United Nations Charter. We're not reading our own Moorish treaties, y'all. That's not even a part. Like, come on. We're the Moorish people who don't know nothing about our Moorish treaties, and this has been since 1913. Come on, man. Are you serious? So let me backtrack. Forget the charter. Forget studying from the Europeans. Forget consular notification and access. Forget all what I just said. It's to the documents that we never studied or read as Moorish Americans. Forget all that. What is the first term in Moorish American? Moorish. So why are we not studying our Moorish treaties? Let's talk about that. Forget everything else. Why is it that we've never been guided to study, read our own treaties with excuses such as, oh, the United States, they don't respect treaties. That's the reason? Because you claim that they don't respect treaties? That's your reason for not studying our Moorish treaties? But instead, you'll have us reading and studying and looking up the motu proprio and all these paper bulls, all these so-called plans, the Rex 87 plan. They're bound by heritage to the continent. Yeah, okay, great. But on what capacity? How are we bound to the continent? And how can we then exercise our authority as the indigenous people to govern our continent, since we're bound to it by the heritage? Why we ain't ever talk about that? Why have we never read and studied the Treaty of Madrid? Keeping in mind that it was the Moorish movement taught us about, and it feels like I'm going off a tangent here. I'm not even talking, but I'm sorry. We got to talk about it real quick. We all, as Moorish Americans, knew about the expatriation document. So why we never studied and understood Article 15 of the Treaty of Madrid, and it's in that document. Ahmed Philip is affirming what he's saying based on the Treaty of Madrid, Article 15 specifically, and it's in the document. Why we've never studied Article 15? Why we've never studied the Treaty of Madrid? I'm sorry, the Act of Algeciras, the Treaty of Fez. We barely studied the Treaty of Peace and Friendship. We didn't properly interpret that treaty. Because if we had properly interpreted that treaty, we would have known that we weren't Moorish Americans. That treaty ain't for Moorish Americans. That treaty is for Moors, i.e. Moroccans and Americans, not Moorish Americans. Not for a group of people who want to take both sides of the contract. The incompetent nature of that keeps you out of the treaty. Choose between entire submission. But why haven't we known about our own Moorish treaties all these years? Since 1913? You didn't know about the Act of Algeciras? You didn't know about the Treaty of Madrid, Article 15? Nobody knew about it, though. That's the demonstration that you see on the cover page of the 101s, with him carrying the mother out of the cares of the world onto the Rock of Salvation, the American jurisdiction. The Rock of Salvation is Morocco. I'm rambling, going off on the sellout. I can't help it sometimes when it comes to my mind. But it's germane for the discussion. because we could have solved this problem long ago if we had known what direction to go. But we were taking a different direction than we need to be in. So what we've done the WRC is converted the notification access. This particular document converted it, right? So that now all the states take it in. So we converted it to be Moroccan law under what's called a resolution. And that resolution is, somebody got to mute their mic, please. That resolution was pushed or made available to the other states. I got to mute their mic. Thank you. It's now pushed or should I say shared with the other Moroccan states. And the Moroccan states take it and convert it or convert it to become now their internal legislation as their law. So we didn't have to write that. We didn't have to write a whole consular notification and access manual from scratch. We took what they had and converted it, copy, paste, plug and play. Reword it to fit our state and what it is that we're seeking to accomplish. Right? So now everything is in like manner, right? So the United States has a consular notification and access manual. We have our own consular notification and access manual. And here's the interesting part about it. When they read it, guess what they're gonna say? Oh, wow. They got it from us. They took the words right out of our mouth. That's the same thing they're gonna do when they read the if they haven't already, because it's been deposited with them, the Basel Regional Convention. They're going to say, this is the charter. Wow. They're going to be familiar. The language is going to be very familiar to them. We snatch everything from what already is in existence. So no sense in reinventing the wheel, keeping in mind that everything that they know, they learn from us anyway, so we're just really taking the knowledge back. Since we've been put in a dead status, mentally dead status, not knowing who the hell we are. That's why we was trying to go back to Africa with Marcus Garvey. Noble Ali had to rein in order, like, no. We are already home. And this is Morocco. To the point where they departed him because they didn't want Marcus Garvey running with Noble. That would have been, that's just too much. The colonists wouldn't be able to deal with that. So what's the next thing here? So this is the consular notification and access reference card. Instructions for arrest and detention of foreign nationals. So that tells me that all the policy enforcers, etc., right, should have this card on their person. You see, they're not expecting to deal with nationals, I suppose, and definitely not Moroccan nationals. This card summarizes for law enforcement officials the basic consular notification procedures to follow upon the arrest or detention of a foreign national. So they have procedures to follow upon the arrest or detention of a foreign national. Now, when it comes on to a government official that has diplomatic immunities, especially with a diplomatic badge, they're not to be arrested. Brother Hano, you got a question? You got your hands up, I see. I didn't realize it till now.
Oh, well, basically, it was already kind of answered. So what we're going to
say that again, baby. You sound muffled or something.
How about now? Better? We're going to basically enact the legislation and referencing this document right here. That's what I was basically going to say. I already knew the answer. I just wanted to bring it up but you've already spoke on it. So yeah, we need to get our diplomatic badges and IDs printed And also, would you recommend notifying, sending a copy of the Circle 7 to this location right here? Because we've already sent it to, the other 6 locations.
I mean, yeah, I would.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that for our
Yeah,
government. Yeah,
AMPAG, we haven't done that, but that's a good idea. I think that we're going to do that as well. Yeah, I would suggest that, no doubt.
so they'll have a copy, so they can't do the plausible deniability, right?
That's correct. That's correct.
100%. Yeah.
100%.
We're gonna do. Yeah. Thanks, Noble. Yeah, we'll do it this week.
For more detailed instructions and legal material, see the Department of State Publication, Consular Notification and Access. The complete publication is available at such-and-such.gov, right? What else does it say? Okay, so here it is. So this is what it's telling the police. This is what it's telling Popo. Steps to follow when a foreign national is arrested or detained. Excuse me. And we could probably carry this card for them, just in case one of us get a, you know what I mean? You just hand them that card, like, here you go, you're supposed to have this. Do you have it? You might want to read this. Because y'all like to play these games out here on these streets. Steps to follow when a foreign national is arrested or detained. 1, Brother Kenny, you want to read that for me, please?
I had started a drive, but I'm
no worries, no worries. No. If you're driving, don't worry, brother. Let's get somebody else to read it if they can, please.
But when you get a chance, though, I guess I wait at the end. As you're talking about this, I just went through what I went through with my movie, and like I said, I just spoke with a policy enforcer, but just everything just makes sense. But I'll speak at the end, though. I'm sorry.
No worries. Would somebody like to read that for me, please?
This is Brother Yahya. Steps to follow when a foreign
Peace and love.
Steps to follow when a foreign national is arrested or detained. 1, determine the foreign national's country of nationality. In the absence of other information, assume this is the country on whose passport or other travel document the foreign national is traveling.
Hold that thought. Determine the foreign national's country of nationality. It didn't say determine the foreign national's country of color, did it?
Nope.
They ain't talking crayons, are they?
Nope.
So why are they talking crayons domestically? So internationally, they talk nationality, but domestically, they talk color. Because they're colorable. They're a semblance, they themselves are a semblance of what's real, but it's not. Because the real de jure authority here are the Moroccans, the Moors, the Black people who have been subjugated and put in the mindset of believing and thinking and knowing that they're Blacks, Negroes, even Africans. Anything but Moroccan. Remember, the land is Morocco, therefore the people are what? Moroccan. Continue, brother.
2, if the foreign national's country is not on the list of mandatory notification list, countries and jurisdiction, subparagraph, substrata, use statement 1 on the back of this card to inform the national without delay that he or she may have his or her consular officers notified and may communicate with them.
All that thought. So there we go. And that was the missing portion. I forgot all about that. So as it's a lot to this statehood thing. Part of the procedures in our states is to send them a list of our protected nationals and things of that nature. So like it says here, if the foreign national country is not on the list of mandatory notifications, we got to send them we got to add our state to their list, to that list, right? That's part of the procedure. Forgot to mention that. Continue, brother.
Substrata 2, if the foreign national requests that his or her consular officers be notified, notify the nearest embassy, or consulate of the foreign national's country without delay. Strata.
So we don't have a consulate or an embassy, right? However, we do still nonetheless have a consul general. So they would have to still adhere to that, irregardless, keeping in mind that, see, we're going through our varying stages of advancement as we force decolonization. As such, they must assist as we go through this process. So there's no excuses. There's no, oh, well, you don't have a consulate and you don't have an embassy, so we didn't know who to report to. No, you know good, full and well that the consul general will be the one to be notified, or anyone within that national state. But we got to remember something, Morris. This entire operation has taken place with the United States, between the United States and these Moroccan states, is setting a new precedent, something that neither one of our sides is used to. They're not used to dealing with us as competent authorities, competent Moors, and we're not used to dealing with them. They're not familiar with Moroccan law. Well, they are familiar with Moroccan law. They're not familiar with Moroccan nationals. Now, here's the thing. When you deposit and notify the United States and the governor, it may or may not necessarily notify the lower officers. However, notice to the principal is notice to the agent, and notice to the agent is notice to the principal. But this notification does not serve their purpose for them to notify. However, it goes against them internationally, legally, because now what they'll be doing now is infringing upon our state rights and our state rights, our treaty rights, our human rights as national, which then causes a dilemma between, or a contentious dispute really, between us. But what it is that it's based in customs and usage, right? We'll get back to this document. 1 second, let's come over here real quick. We're at the if it'll load up for me. Right, so we're at the Treaty of Madrid. Y'all already know where I'm going with it. We'll go straight to Article 15. As you see, it's highlighted, right? So what they're used to is paragraph 2, right? This is this is what they stand on. Is paragraph 2. Brother, could you go ahead and read paragraph 2 for me, please?
Paragraph 2, foreign naturalization heretofore acquired by subjects of Morocco according to the rules established by the laws of each country shall be continued to them as regards all its effects without any restriction.
That's what they're used to. They're used to the acquiescence. And due to the acquiescing of the Moors, all of their laws will apply to us without any restriction. So they get to do whatever they want by treaty right. What treaty? The Treaty of Madrid. What specific article? Article 15. Which specific paragraph? Paragraph 2. However, today, in today's age, we have changed that narrative because we changed our status. So how did we do that? Okay, brother, could you read paragraph 1?
Any subject of Morocco who has been naturalized in a foreign country and who shall return to Morocco shall, after having remained for a length of time equal to that which shall have been regularly necessary for him to obtain such naturalization, choose between entire submission to the laws of the empire and the obligation to quit Morocco, unless it shall be proved that his naturalization in a foreign country was obtained with the consent of the government of Morocco.
Islam, brother, thank you. And that's the status that we're in now. So now they got to figure out how they're gonna deal with us.
Right.
They got to contemplate seriously. So where is it at? What did Philip Hoffman say, or Hoffman Philip? Let's look at what he said. This is a document I was referring to earlier that we as Moors we've been familiar with. So I don't understand why we weren't familiar with Article 15 if it's in the document. So look at what Hoffman Phillips said. Oh, I can't highlight it. I wish I could highlight it. Go ahead, brother. Read the above ruling. What does it say there?
The above ruling has never yet been acted upon, and should this at any time be contemplated seriously, a large number of naturalized people, American and others, residing in Morocco would be affected thereby.
And that's what's taking place right now. In other words, they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
The United Nations and the United States had what's called the Trusteeship Council, which became the C-24, in which they assisted non-self-governing territories with decolonization. So currently there's 17. They have assisted 80 non-self-governing territories. There's 17 left. So we as Moors, had we petitioned the C-24, the Trusteeship Council, we would have been number 18. What am I saying with that? What am I saying with that, Moore? Listen to what I said. I'll say it again. The United Nations had what's called the Trusteeship Council. The 5 permanent security council members oversaw it, one of which include the United States. So the United States, with the other 4 council members, was overseeing the decolonization process for each of those non-self-governing territories. They assisted 80. There's 17 left. Right?
All right.
17 in line to gain the assistance from the United States and the C-24, the Security Council, and the C-24 to assist them with decolonization. Had we done that, had we petitioned the United Nations and the C-24, what do you think would have happened with the Moors here in Morocco? I know it's a complicated question, but I just want to throw it out there anyway, see if somebody can pick up on it.
I think the exchange of power would have been took place.
Okay. Who else? Who else got something?
We would have taken the seat that the U.S. is sitting in.
Okay, one more. All y'all wrong. One more. Let's see if we can get one person to get it right.
Or we would have been on the Security Council. We would have been a member state.
Mm-mm. One other person? All right, Kendon spoke twice. One more person.
We'd have been decolonizing ourselves.
Okay. So maybe you guys didn't hear the question properly. There's 17 states in waiting. Why is there 17 states waiting?
Because the colonizers refused to complete that part of the treaty that they've signed off on, because they said they were going to aid and assist.
Now
Because
you're getting
Go.
closer to the answer.
Second.
Okay.
I wasn't finna go there. Go ahead.
Go ahead, brother. You're getting closer to the answer.
No, when you said the 17, why the 17 are remaining, I would say the 17 are remaining because the people who were supposed to run the territory are there. They haven't did anything. We haven't did anything to take back over to decolonize. There's no one else to do this but us.
Okay. What did you say, brother? The brother that came in before you?
I said that the people that signed to the treaty that said they would aid and assist, they're not aiding and assisting. As a matter of fact, J. Edgar Hoover stood in the way of that for 50 years that he was there as the FBI director. Anytime a group of Moors who called themselves Black, who didn't have a national identity, but when they started to try to build or develop, there was COINTELPRO, infiltration, all types of things. Now, yeah, we are responsible for ourselves, but hell, it's like we're at war with them. They're not giving it up.
Okay. So there you go.
Point of privilege. I was gonna say, why should they? I wouldn't give it up if I was them.
But they swore on their honor said that they would assist. Now, either they're dishonorable people or they don't know, either they're dishonorable or they don't know what they're doing.
Well, let's get to it. They will assist you. They're going to honor it. This is the point that I was making. They will honor it when they get damn and ready. When they get ready, they'll honor it. So you Negroes get in line. You'll be number 18. Whenever we're ready, we'll get to you. You see what I'm saying? They are controlling the narrative. So they take their sweet little time and get to you whenever they get ready to get to you. Whereas these Moroccan states, we are controlling the narrative of decolonization. So it's not on your terms, it's on our term. It's not on your schedule, Mr. Colonizer. It is on our schedule. We are taking the steps for the steps forward to force decolonization without having to depend on some C-24 or trustee council for them to now control the narrative as to what it looks like and when it's going to be for us to bring forth decolonization. What you're now risking is neocolonialism, because now if they have control or a hand in assisting you to decolonize, all they're going to do is switch the game up.
Yeah, drag it out, give you an application, and
you'll still decolonize, but on a different level, and that's called neo-colonialism. It's a new form of colonization to where they have certain controls and authority over you still, nonetheless, even though you have been so-called decolonized. So it's not full decolonization; it's partial decolonization.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're doing is we're controlling the narrative of decolonization to where we're going to have full decolonization. You see?
Absolutely.
That's the difference between us and everyone else.
All right.
We are taking charge of our own destiny and controlling the narrative of decolonization. And so what I'm saying is this is not what they was expecting. What they were expecting is for us to petition the C-24, for them now to take control of the narrative of decolonization and put us in line. Y'all get in line. You'll be number 18. We'll get to you when we get to you. In the meantime, we're going to continue our subjugation over you. No. Wrong answer.
All right.
And that's what's going on, right? So they're not used to this. They didn't expect you think that they expected the WRC?
No, absolutely not.
They did not expect a regional agency for the protections of our several states, and also to come together as erga omnes parties to deal with the United States at the ICJ as a class action lawsuit. You think they expected any of that? Do you think they're even happy about any of that? Trust me, they are very well familiar with the WRC. We put it on a record with them already. They know what the WRC is. And also, all these several states, including lately Ampani and Serum, right? They are the latest two states to deposit their constitution with the United States and the United Nations and their governor, etc.
Okay.
So what are they saying? Oh man, hold up. We got 8 constitution. We got 8 constitution that came. Yes. Declaration of Independence, flag seal. Yes. Oh Lord. What are we gonna do? Well, all we can do is stall the 9, right? All we can do is play games and try to stall this thing out and put them through several different stress tests to see what they do. Let's see how strong their pen game is. Let's see if they know what the next few moves are through this process. But all they're doing is causing problems for themselves, because in doing so, they're going to continue to try to violate our treaty rights and our human rights based on Article 2, paragraph 2 that we just read of the Treaty of Madrid, Article 15. Well, now if you do that, now you're being a criminal, because anytime prior to that, it was legal, according to paragraph 2. Well, the moment that we chose between entire submission and went back home to Morocco, that's when it's supposed to stop, screech and halt, right then and there.
Mm-hmm.
Will they do that? We'll see. But what I do know is that we know the next steps to go forward with this due process of law to force them to accept our Moroccan law, which is decolonization. If there's anybody that they're going to want to, they don't have a choice but to go into negotiations with somebody, because they know and they knew that this day was going to come one day. The meek shall inherit the earth. I mean, it's in the Bible, it's everywhere. They knew this day was coming. So the best thing that they can do at this moment is to get into negotiation and discuss this matter as competent officials of each state, both sides of the equation, both sides of the chessboard. That's the handshake that you'll see in the prophets' literature. I've talked about that before. I've seen several of them, the different renditions, one of which was a melanated hand shaking a pale hand, right? It's called diplomacy. You got to now shake hands, come into negotiation, diplomatic relations, to settle the dispute that we have between our several states and the United States. What dispute is that? The continuance of their exercise of extraterritorial jurisdiction in Morocco, that they must relinquish once the president deems the time necessary, or should I say appropriate. Well, the time is now, damn it. The time is now. Oh, the time is now. If nowhere else, at least in 7 different territories. 7, one of which is New York. Islam. So I got off this subject a little bit, but just to make, well, I didn't. It was germane to the point. The point was, them operating on the customs and usage, or us operating under customs and usage, being accustomed and used to being subjugated, acquiescing, and them having control over us is what's causing the difficulty in them automatically, right, without any interruptions, without any questions, not only respecting our nationals, possibly, because that's not necessarily the case. Texas has great experiences, and so does AMPAG. Not only respecting our nationals, but also, but more importantly, adhering to and respecting Moroccan law. So it's gonna be a process. And that's what I'm saying about us putting pressure on them. We have to maintain pressure. We have to keep our foot on their necks by constantly submitting consular court orders, etc. We have to recreate the customs and uses. There's a new culture now. There's a
Okay.
new status. It's no longer acquiescing, it's no longer incompetence, it's no longer subjugation. We have chosen between entire submission, sir. As such, you must adhere to Article 15, paragraph 1, which then brings you all the way back to the Treaty of the Act of Algeciras. See, they wanted to, I'm all over the place, I'm sorry. But there's so much to talk about with this. So, as you see here, they, in cooperation with the Kingdom of Morocco, they were trying to strike the Moroccan nationality, Article 15 from the record that deals with Moroccan nationality. If that was in 1959, 1958, 1959, 1958, you see it here. However, the Act of Algeciras came out in 1906. So if they had been able to get away with such a human right violation, such as striking the Moroccan nationality from the record, which, by the way, the Kingdom of Morocco, excuse me, which was considered, a Moroccan government, how can you strike the Moroccan nationality, but then still claim to be Moroccan? That's very interesting. That's actually hilarious. That's incompetent, actually, to be honest. That was stupid. But when you're trying to do stupid things, you know how they say stupid is as stupid does, right?
Right.
But that's based in desperation because they don't want the Moors to wake up. Why? Okay, if they had been able to get away with striking Article 15 from the record, keeping us from being able to return back to Morocco, which means coming back into your nationality. And the only way to get back into your nationality is to get back into your government, because we lost our nationality because we lost our government. So Article 15, paragraph 1 means going back to our government, which means now we'll be back to being now the Sharifian authorities, the Moxen, the Moorish authorities, the Moorish governments. That's what they're afraid of. So here's the point. Let me get to it. As long as the Moors could not get back to their government, the Treaty of the Act of Algeciras would not been able to be activated. Follow what I'm saying. The Act of Algeciras is a decolonization document.
Mm-hmm.
And in it, it talks about the Moorish governments taking back the authority of the empire, which means the Moorish governments will be the one to decolonize Morocco, utilizing the treaty of the Act of Algeciras. But that would have been the Moorish governments, the Moroccan authorities. the Sharifian authorities, not anyone else. In every contract, the parties must be known. So if there's no more Moroccans, then what people would have been able to enforce the Treaty of the Act of Algeciras? It wouldn't exist, which means now the United States get to run free and clear with the Treaty of the Act of Algeciras and continue their mayhem. So without the Moors, there is no Act of Algeciras. There is no decolonization, because the only people who can do that are the Moors, according to the Treaty, the Act of Algeciras, which is a decolonization document. That's why they were trying to strike it. That's why they were trying to strike it from the record, to keep us from activating the Act of Algeciras. So they only did it in part, right? Because they couldn't go full with it, because it would have been a violation of human rights anyway, according to the same charter that they put together.
Denationalization.
Denationalization, which is a violation of human rights. Just cause is a preemptory norm of international law. Right? So anyway, yeah. So the Article 15 of the Treaty of Madrid is the most important article in all of our Moorish treaties, because without that, there is no Act of Algeciras anyway. But they couldn't take away someone's nationality. It's a huge, that's genocide. That's, come on. It's a major violation. Human rights violation. But it's not personal. It's business. It's a matter of maintaining colonialism. Right? So it's like, man, we got to do what we got to do, right? But they couldn't do what they wanted to do. So they only did it in part, right? Through legislation and things of that nature, the Naturalization Act of 1870, etc. 13th, 14th, 15th Amendment that Noble said that there's no need for. Why? Because we're supposed to go back to our own governments. As long as we got our own government, then there's no need for the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment. You see? But he didn't say that directly, or maybe he did. Anyhow. So getting back to
So may I ask a question, brother? So what status then becomes the colonizer? Is he considered stateless, or is he considered a citizen of the empire? What is his status?
tenants, dependency states. His status is a dependency. He has a nationality. His nationality is an American. They are the foreign Americans, and they have the right to their own. They got a treaty right to their own autonomy, their own self-governance. However, they're still subject to Moroccan law as long as they're in Morocco.
Right.
And specifically speaking, we're talking about the United States of America Republic, the original republic. That's the parties to the contract, not the United States Federal Corporation.
Right.
But the United States Federal Corporation still fall under Moroccan law as well, nonetheless. So what they really want to do, because see, as long as the foreign Americans of all sorts, which is not limited to just what you might call white people,
right?
As long as they remain within the jurisdiction of the U.S. Federal Corporation, there will continue to be civiliter mortuus. See, that was part of the misinformation from the old paradigm. We were taught that only Black people are civiliter mortuus. No, anyone within the U.S. jurisdiction is civiliter mortuus. Everyone's name is in all caps. Everyone is a corporation. White people, Black people, everybody.
Right.
Right. So as long as you choose to remain in that jurisdiction, then they have to, the United States Federal Corporation has the treaty right to do with their citizens or their nationals as they see fit, as long as they don't violate their human rights too bad, I suppose. I mean, they still do, but what's the limit to that? Well, that's that's where Moroccan law comes into play to maintain peace and security in Morocco. That includes not violating the human rights of anyone,
Anyone,
right?
right?
So, but ultimately, what they would need to do is reestablish the United States of America Republic, bring it
Okay.
back, reestablish the central government for what they call United States of America Major.
Right.
The United States that you see going on now is the United States of America Minor, none of which belong to us. I don't care how it's styled, major, minor, whatever. We're Moroccans, and our empire is Morocco, period.
Right. Okay, so one final question then. When you spoke of the consular access, then the states that have come back and reaffirmed the Moroccan law, they would have consular jurisdiction. What if I'm in a region or district or area where the state hasn't done that? Would I still be able to demand, I guess, that protection? Or must I be in an area, in a state that has done that? Must I be physically in that state?
I don't think I fully understand the question
Okay,
because
let me say it.
I
Let me
had
say
to
it this
switch
way.
my devices. My phone is acting up. I got to restart it. Go ahead and
Okay,
re-ask
so-
the question.
Okay, so I'm in New Mexico, and I want to enforce consular access because I know I'm Moroccan. I know I'm a Moor, and I demand that when I have a dispute with a citizen of the U.S., then the proper resolution should be in a consular court. Now, can I seek aid in Colorado since it would be the nearest port?
Okay, and you're a Moorish subject?
Yeah, I've done as much as I could. I can't form a nation by myself.
No, you can't.
So I'm here in Mexico, and I've done everything I could to say, hey, I'm Moroccan, I'm a Moor, I'm here in Mexico, and I have a problem with a colonizer or citizen of the United States. Can I
I
demand?
think your question, as it relates to consular notification and access, that wouldn't be appropriate because you're not a national of AMPAG, as far as that's concerned. The other part to your question is based in Article 20 of the Treaty of Peace and Friendship, where it says that you would have to the consul any dispute between the United States, between a citizen and a person under their protection must go through consular court. The consul must oversee the matter. That particular provision in the Treaty of Peace and Friendship, remember that at the time, so let's talk about the Sundry Free Moors. That was in 1790. 1790. So the reason why the Sundry Free Moors were able to correct their status the way they did is because they did exactly that, petition. Well, in 1790, the empire, the consular courts in the empire was still in existence and in operation. You follow?
Correct. Right.
As of 1956, the empire ceased to, the central government of the empire ceased to exist. The empire is still here, but it's in a shallow grave, right? That we're trying to resurrect.
Right.
So what I'm saying to you is that that treaty, that provision is based in the empire, not necessarily our several Moroccan states. So once we bring back the central government of the empire, the United States of America, the United States of Morocco, I'm sorry, that consular court would then be able to have the jurisdiction over New Mexico for you, to where even if there's no state government there, you as a Moorish subject would be able to petition consular court of the empire, which you wouldn't necessarily be able to petition the consular court of the provincial state government known as AMPAG. Does that answer? Do you understand
Right, I
how I
follow.
answered?
Right, so currently, if I live in Mexico, I would not have access to consular jurisdiction with
Or
the,
protections, consular protections or whatever through AMPAG? No, it's a provincial state
right.
government. It would have to be
Right.
the empire.
right, it would have to be the empire, though the empire per se has not been reestablished,
Not yet.
but the provision of the treaty, which
Mhm.
says as a subject, then the proper venue to settle disputes between them and Moroccans is still
Consular
consular
court.
court
Through the empire,
through the
not
empire.
not a provincial state government.
Okay,
So we got to get the empire up and running. Now, the WRC has limited jurisdiction over non-self-governing territories. Excuse me. Limited jurisdiction, limited supervision over non-self-governing territories. But the problem with the WRC as it relates to that is that the judicial arm is the regional Supreme Court, right?
right,
Which means it's not consular court. So it would be the improper venue, it's the wrong court,
right,
you see?
right. I'm following.
Because it's again, it's an organization, not a state, the WRC is. So that
Right.
would be the improper venue, so we wouldn't be able to utilize the RSC.
Right.
At best, we would have to utilize the consular court of whatever Moroccan state that reclaimed New Mexico, which it hasn't happened yet.
Right.
Interestingly enough, though, I spoke with a sister today who's interested in establishing New Mexico. She was supposed to be a member of Vienna, California, which is the one of the new Moroccan states coming online out of that's taking over California.
Right.
So I'll put you in contact with her and see if you guys can put something
Oh,
together.
no. I was just using that as an example.
Oh, okay. You're not in New Mexico. Okay, all
No,
right. 10-4, for
I,
sure.
yeah,
Well, that's
I just use
interesting.
that. Yeah.
Well, yeah,
yeah.
so that would be the answer to that. Yes.
Okay.
There are, like I said, the WRC may have some say, but we're limited because we don't, it's an organization. It's not the empire itself, which it is, but it is a placeholder for the empire. So eventually the empire will be coming online through the WRC nonetheless.
All right.
Okay. All right, brother. Okay, so you can go ahead and read the rest of that card.
So it says in that third bullet point there, forward any communication from the foreign national to his or her consular officers without delay. Paragraph 3 or section 3. If the foreign national's country is on the list of mandatory notification list countries, bullet point, notify that country's nearest embassy or consulate without delay of the arrest or detention. Bullet point, use statement 2 on the back of this card to tell the national without delay that you are making this notification that he or she may communicate with the consulate. Bullet point, forward any communication from the foreign national to his or her consular officer without delay. Paragraph 4, keep a written record of, bullet point, what information you provided to the foreign national and when, bullet point, the foreign national's requests, if any, bullet point, whether you notified consular officers and, if so, the date and time and the means used to notify them, such as fax, email, or phone. If you use fax or email to notify the consular officers, you should keep the fax confirmation sheet or sent email in your records. Bullet point. Any other relevant actions taken? And then here's the footnote for up above. It says, these steps should be followed for all foreign nationals, regardless of their immigration status.
And so this is where we may have a little bit of a hiccup, right?
We're not on this.
Ratification list countries.
All right.
Our states won't be on here. You see? Ain't no AMPAG, New Mecca, or anything like that on there. Right? Kuwait, Zimbabwe, Zambia, Tunisia, Costa Rica, Belize, right? You don't have Moroccan states on that list, right? Okay. Then it says there, read that footnote.
Footnote 1 does not include Republic of China, Taiwan passport holders. Mandatory for non-permanent only. And then 3, it's UK includes Angola, Bermuda,
Anguilla.
Anguilla, Bermuda, the British Virgin Islands, the Cayman Islands, Montserrat, and the Turks and Caicos Islands. Residents' passports bear the name of their territory and may also bear the name United Kingdom.
What did you just read right there? Colonization.
Yeah.
This is United Kingdom colonizing all those areas.
Mm.
Okay. All right. So then it goes, suggested statements to arrested or detained foreign nationals. What does it say? I don't know what's going on here. Come on, work with me. Internet acting crazy.
Mm.
All right.
Okay, statement 1. For all foreign nationals except those from mandatory notification countries, as a non-US citizen who is being arrested or detained, you may request that we notify your country's consular officers here in the United States of your situation. You may also communicate with your consular officers. A consular officer may be able to help you obtain legal representation and may contact your family and visit you in detention, among other things. If you want us to notify your consular officers, you can request this notification now or at any time in the future. Do you want us to notify your consular officers at this time?
So this is what they got to, so this is the United States telling their officers,
This is what they got.
this is how they're supposed to, this is what they're supposed to read to any, non-US citizen who's been detained by them. See, they have, part of what we're seeking to do, see, they have to put together policies and procedures within their jurisdiction detailing how and in what ways must they deal with us as Moroccan nationals. So that in and of itself tells you that we've got a lot of work to do. There's a due process taking place. This stuff is not going to happen overnight. Go ahead, brother.
Well, okay, so I'm just thinking on the reverse when you said that. What happens when a, a foreigner violates here in Morocco? Then we too will have to do some type of notification. Say the guy's from, well, Belize or from Europe. Let's say he's from Holland. We'd have to contact his embassy.
Yeah,
Pretty much
that's
follow.
correct.
Yeah.
You got to follow the same protocol.
Right. Wow, that's a
And
lot.
this is what I mean when I was just saying what I was saying. There's a due process taking place. There's a like. I hope you weren't thinking that the changing of the guard is an overnight process, right? What's going on here is the changing of the guard. That means that exact thing that we're reading is what our Moorish Cades, police officers or whatever, would have to read off to others,
Right,
to include the United States, foreign Americans,
right.
to us. We're just, what am I trying to say here? We're as the indigenous people of the land, Moroccans, we're finally kicking in the door to get in this room where our seat has been collecting dust for us to then take our seat in the affairs of men. That process is not overnight, right? We're knocking at the door. Actually, I think the door is open, actually, if you were to ask me. Now we're trying to figure out which one is our seat, where we're going to sit, we're telling the United States to get up out of our seat. That's really what we're doing. And the United States is like, no, I've been sitting here long enough, I've been warmed up the seat, I've been here. No, you got to get up. That's our seat. No, actually, your seat is over there. They're using tricks.
Use and practice.
That's right. We're in the room. We're just trying to get the United States to get up out the seat, right? And they're like, nah, man. We've been sitting here for 200 and 300 years, brother. We can't just get up out of it. Yeah, you got to get up out that seat. Every time we send them consular court orders, documents, and things, we're telling them to get up out that seat. And every time they don't respond and things of that nature, they're saying to us, I don't want to get up out of the seat. I've been sitting here long enough. I don't want to give it up.
So is there a referee to tell them, hey, you're out of there?
Good question. That's the United Nations and the ICJ.
Okay.
So when our final consular court orders and judgments do not prevail, right? That's when we now petition the United Nations to bring in the ICJ. And everything that we all documentation and information that we send to the colonists, we also send to the United Nations as documentary evidence. So now when the ICJ presides over the case, they can petition all that documentary evidence from the United Nations as part of the evidence to conduct the case. The United States can't win. They're in a losing battle. They know it. They know it. And if they don't want to follow through with the judgments and the orders from the ICJ, the next step after that would be the ICC, International Criminal Court. Now that venue, that court, adjudicates against heads of state directly in their personal and private capacity. The ICJ is for states. The ICC is for heads of state. You'll get removed. Currently, Putin got a arrest warrant that was issued from the ICC, not the ICJ.
So I saw a definition for violation of just cogent norms, and I was very, shocked at what that definition said with regards to that. If I might just share it, I put it on the AMPAG media. It says, what is violation of just cogent's norm? And it says, because aggression, war crimes, and crimes against humanity are prohibited in just cogent's terms if a head of state has committed such crimes. Other states have a right to abduct that person for the purposes of prosecution. There's a semicolon. Similarly, they have an obligation to assassinate him or her.
And where did you get that definition?
Well, you were doing a thing, and I wanted to look up the just cogent to get a better understanding. And you know how you Google it, and then they'll give you some questions about it. And one of the questions they said was, what is violation of just cogent norms?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what came up. And it says, okay, so the site is www.cambridge.org.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And there's an article, and then it says the legal consequences of just cogence and the individuation of norms.
Mm-hmm. Well, in real time right now, that's taking place. I just told you that the ICC put a warrant out for
Putin.
Right. That was based in the case between Ukraine and Russia,
right,
in which they went after Russia for genocide.
Yeah.
And genocide is based on what? Human rights violations.
Right.
They killed so many Ukrainian citizens and nationals, right? So now essentially Putin violated the preemptory norms of international law, which is just cogence, human rights.
Right.
He had a warrant put on him by the ICC. With that warrant, he lost all his privileges and immunities. So now his nationals, any official on planet Earth can abduct him, apprehend him, arrest him, do whatever the hell they want with him. That's what you just read. And that's
right.
That's what Putin is dealing with right now. He doesn't have any more privileges and immunities. He has a warrant from the ICC.
So that's why them boys rolled up there in them tanks.
Right.
Yeah.
Wagner
and whoever else it was.
This stuff is serious, man. This stuff is serious. And it's all based in Moroccan law.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole world has been waiting for the arrival of the Moroccan Moors to come back into power. There wouldn't have been no Russia versus Ukraine if the Moors were sitting in that seat, because we have control over all the guns on planet Earth. We got control of all the militaries on planet Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Russia is in Morocco.
Right.
Russia is under the jurisdiction of Moroccan law.
Mm-hmm.
But the Russian Moroccans, if you will, that doesn't sound right. The Moors, the subjugated Russian Moors, who are Moroccan Moors, need to stand up and do what we're doing here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's the same case.
Moors around the world, China, Great
Britain, Germany, Spain, etc. So we are setting that precedence now on planet Earth. We are spearheading that process. Once the rest of these Moors get a whiff of this, oh man, look here. There's gonna be Moroccan states popping up all over the world. All in Russia. I mean, they're like literally, like Putin is literally just styling and sitting all up in all laid up in our Moorish building. That's a Moorish building, the Kremlin.
Oh yeah.
It's called a Habu property.
Yeah.
And he knows that. Trust and believe, Putin knows that. They all know that.
Yeah.
They know these things much better than all of us on this line combined. We're just coming into this realization. We're just realizing that the Kremlin is a Moorish building. We're just realizing that all the Capitol buildings are Moorish buildings. It's us. We're the one who's late to the party. We're the ones who's way behind. That's why we got to play catch up by doing things like copy, paste, plug, and play. Use their words against them by converting the language and making it fit our cause, make it fit our state, etc. Like, for example, the RICO Act. We can take that and convert that and make that Moroccan law.
Right.
Whatever legislation or statutes, codes, whatever they have, we can take that and convert it. Oh, I like that. The Anti-Terrorism and Perfect Death Penalty Act of 1996. We can take that and convert it.
Mm-hmm.
And say wherever it says United States, we say AMPAG. Simple as that. Go ahead, brother, with statement 2. We can move on to the next.
Okay, statement 2. For foreign nationals from mandatory notification countries, because of your nationality, we are required to notify your country's consular officers here in the United States that you have been arrested or detained.
Did he say because of your color?
No, he didn't say that.
Say because of your race?
No, he didn't say that.
It says because of your nationality.
Exactly.
Nationality is the order of the day, but the way that is the order of the day is through your governments. You can't have a nationality without a government. Continue, brother. Because of your nationality.
Okay, because of your nationality, we are required to notify your country's consular officers here in the United States that you have been arrested or detained.
They're gonna go to the embassy. So if it's a Chinese national, they got to go to the Chinese embassy to let them know that they got a national in their custody.
Right.
Go ahead, brother.
We will do this as soon as possible. In addition, you may communicate with your consular officers. You are not required to accept this assistance, but your consular officers may be able to help you obtain legal representation and may contact your family and visit you in detention, among other things. Please sign to show that you have received this information.
So this is how they got to deal with other nationals, foreign nationals.
Yeah,
And what are we? Foreign nationals.
foreign national, that's right.
We don't have, we're not on that whatever list that what they call the countries list.
Yeah.
Here, right? But this is where notification and communication with the United States comes into play. This is why we got to submit a list to the Department of the what is this? The Department of Justice? No, the Department of State. Instructions for arrests and detentions of foreign nationals. Okay, what else we got here? So this is a procedure, arresting a non-U.S. citizen. What is this? This is the process flow chart. Consular notification process. Are you a U.S. citizen? Answer: yes, I'm a U.S. citizen. No, I'm not a U.S. citizen. So Moors, this is what Moors would say. This is what Moorish Americans would say. I'm not a U.S. citizen. Okay, if you're not a U.S. citizen, then are you a national of one of these countries? That would be the next question, Moors.
Right.
Well, then if you can't say that you're a national of any other country, whether it's on this list or at all, then you're a U.S. citizen, bro. Stop playing. You're not a U.S. citizen. Okay, real quick. Let's do it again. Because this stuff be going over the Moors' heads. Look at what the white man said, right? Connotatively speaking. Look at what the white man said about Moors. Hoffman Phillip. Okay. This
Right.
paragraph and the next paragraph. Citizenship in Morocco may be said to be governed by the laws pertaining to the same in other countries, with the exception that all persons residing in Morocco who cannot prove foreign citizenship or protection are considered ipso jure as Moorish subjects. If you cannot prove foreign citizenship or protection. So if you say you're not a U.S. citizen, that means that you're telling them that you can prove foreign citizenship or protection. Well, then the next question is, through what state can you prove foreign citizenship or protection? If you can't answer that, guess what? You're ipso jure Moorish subject. Period. Period. So stop saying that you don't have no jurisdiction over me and I'm not a U.S. citizen. If you can't prove or point out at least the name of your consul general of a competent Moroccan state that protects you, whose jurisdiction you're under. Okay, we're not finished. 2 and 3. Moorish subjects. Right? The same ipso jure Moorish subjects from the previous paragraph. Moorish subjects lost their nationality. So they're telling you that we lost our nationality, which is why we're Moorish subjects, because we lost our nationality. So then now, how do we lose our nationality? Okay, he tells you, only by becoming naturalized in or protected by another country having treaty relations with your empire, Moors, with the Moorish Empire. See what that sounds like? You see how crazy that is? Moorish subjects lost their nationality only by becoming naturalized in or protected by another country having treaty relations with the Moorish Empire. Oh man, we are a special people, I tell you. We are, oh man. We lost our nationality only by becoming naturalized in or protected by another country who's been having treaty relations with the Moorish Empire. What treaty specifically, what article? This one right here. Because the last paragraph 2, foreign nationalization heretofore acquired by subjects of Morocco according to the rules established by the laws of each country shall be continued to them as regards all its effect without any restrictions. That's the treaty relations that they're talking about. That's how we lost our nationality. That's why he reaffirmed it in the next paragraph, Article 15. So when these guys come to you, which they never do, but they put out this flow chart and question you, and they ask you, are you a U.S. citizen? And you say, no, I'm not. Okay, what's next? Because see, the first one says stop. The second one, the next one says next. So if you say that you are not a U.S. citizen, then they proceed on to the next process, the next line of questioning, which is, are you a national of one of these countries? Okay, well then, if you're Moorish subject, Moorish American, which one are you going to point out? Which one belongs to you? Granted, as Moroccan Moors, we can't even point out any of our states on this list. However, we're working towards that. We're working towards that. Really, we're not even necessarily towards that. We're working towards decolonization. But we can prove protections from a separate state. It's just that it's not within this list, right? But the point that I'm making here is that you got to be able to point out, even if it's not on the list, you got to be able to point out what country you're a citizen of if you're not a citizen of the United States.
Okay, so then I'm going to ask the question. Okay, so no, I'm not a citizen of the United States. I'm a citizen of Taiwan. Is Taiwan on there? Let's see.
I'm not sure. Yeah, probably.
No, the Chinese Republic. No, Taiwan is not on there because, well, China basically don't allow that. But okay, so they're not recognized. But I don't have to be, my state does not have to be recognized in order for me to have a state. I don't
Yeah,
need anybody to recognize me.
well, you do need some. Well, within the Moroccan movement, we recognize one another.
Okay.
But we
Okay,
don't seek
right.
recognition from the United States or the United Nations. Definitely that cannot give recognition. It's a organization, not a government. But go ahead.
Okay, so the question is, if I'm in Taiwan, I'm in, oh gosh, there were a couple of other, there were several states, and when I say states, I'm saying countries that are not part of the are not recognized by the United Nations. They're on that list of 193 because there are more than 193.
Well, let me clarify that for you. You got two statuses: you got member state and non-member states.
Okay,
So the 193 that you see are the member states.
right.
We, for example, are non-member states. So Taiwan or any others who's not part of the 193 member states would then be non-member states. It's not a matter of recognition from the United Nations.
So, so my question is, why wouldn't they appear on this list? Because we know they're foreign nationals.
Well, that deals with whatever foreign policy or diplomatic relations that the United States have with each one of these foreign countries. However, if you say that you're from Taiwan, right? Like in this same flow chart, if your answer is Taiwan, then you better be ready to or prepared to show some sort of identification that proves that you're from Taiwan. See, that proves that you're from Taiwan. Now, you being on this list or not is another story, but you're still a foreign national nonetheless, right? So to answer your question, as it relates to the Moorish American movement, a Moorish American wouldn't be able to point out any country. Somewhere, whether in his pocket or in some file cabinet in his house somewhere, he has a passport, U.S. passport, and a driver's license. Okay. Mm-hmm. So you can't, you might as well just say U.S. citizen. Because I can show credentials from AMPAG to say, okay, well, we're not on that list, but I'm certainly a Moroccan national, foreign Moroccan national to the American jurisdiction. I can say that with full confidence because it is a thing. AMPAG is a de jure state. But as a Moorish American, as a subjugated Moorish, which would be a Moorish subject, I can't say that. Now, if I was to gain naturalization in Taiwan, then I can say it. I can say, well, but don't say that you're Moorish. You can't say that you're Moorish American. You have to say that you're, what do you say that? Taiwanese? I don't know.
Yeah, Taiwanese.
Right. So you have to call out the proper nationality that represents that particular state. And it ain't Moorish Americans over there. So then you wouldn't be wearing fezzes and talking about your Moorish American. You had, if you're a Taiwanese national, Taiwan national or whatever. This is where we've been having this thing twisted up and confused and mixed up. We've been, as individuals, with this illusion that there's some nation that we're a part of, but we're not. Our nation is in a shallow grave. There's no government governing body that's operating the empire. So therefore, there won't be any documentation available to prove anything because there is no competent authority governing the empire. You can't call out or point out the ruler of the empire. Give me a name. I'll wait. Well, what's the name of the Minister of Foreign Affairs for the empire? What's the name of the Consul General for the empire? I'm waiting. It doesn't exist. That's why you're more subject until you choose between entire submission and establish your state. This is what we have to recognize and understand: inner stand, overstand, and outer stand. We got to reestablish our government. We have to come back into the constitutional fold of government so that we can now begin to worship under our own vine and fig tree and confess our own. That's how you take your seat in the affairs of men, not by enforcing their laws and their constitution, thinking that the United States major is yours. Well, you're not British Moors. It's the British who established that. You're Moroccans. So let me get this straight. You prefer to stand your square on a, excuse me, on a so-called country over an entire empire? You twisted. You love bringing up chapter 47. Well, in chapter 47, he said that you're the true possessors and founders of an empire called Morocco. He didn't say nothing about no American empire, and certainly didn't say anything about no United States major. So coming back into the constitutional fold of government means reestablishing your government, because that's how you lost your nationality, by coming out of your government and now becoming protected or naturalized in a foreign country. That's why he's saying we have to come back into the constitutional fold of government, Morris. That doesn't mean go back to the U.S. Constitution and enforce their constitution. Where you get that from? It's nonsensical. Digress. So this is the flow chart. So then it goes, if he says yes, inform detainee that he or she may communicate with consulate and that you must notify consulate of arrest, detention. Notify nearest consulate without delay. Make record of notification in case file. Where fax or email sent, keep fax confirmation or sent email. Allow consular officers access to detainee if they subsequently request access. No further action required. Stop. So now, if that national says no, that the list, his country is not on that list, inform detainee without delay that he or she may have consulate notified of arrest, detention. So if you're not on that list, you still can notify your whoever, depending on whatever state, whoever your consul general, your consulate, your embassy, regardless if it's on that list or not. So he had to continue going forward with the last portion of it. Do you want your consulate notified of your arrest, detention? If they say yes, make note in case file, notify nearest consulate without delay, make record of notification in case file, where fax or email sent, keep fax confirmation or send email. Allow consular officers access to detainee if they subsequently request access. If they say no, make note in case file. Step 2, do not inform the consulate. So even if your name, even if your state name or your country is not on that list, it's still obligating themselves, right, to notify their consulate, regardless as to whether they're on that list or not. So that further answers your question, good brother. You said Taiwan, okay, they're not on that list. Well, they still have to proceed with the proper protocols as it relates to consular notification and access.
Mm-hmm.
You see?
Right.
And so this is what it is, as it relates to the way the United States have set up their policies and procedures, or should I say standard operating procedures relating to how to deal with foreign nationals. So now we have to be in communication with them so that they also know how to deal with our nationals of our states. Because again, this is a new status. It's a new culture that's being born. It's no longer the culture of acquiescence and subjugation and colonization. That's old. That's out of here. It's a new era of time now. And they have to figure out a way to work with it and deal with it because they don't have a choice. And we have to figure out a way, we have to work our magic, move our chess pieces in such excellent combination so that we may apply pressure on the opponent, right? And with that pressure from excellent peace positioning, we will gain the results that we're seeking. Strategy and tactics and execution. And there's several different chessboards in the game. You know, like Bobby Fischer would be playing 3, 4, 5 people at one time.
Right.
We're playing Moors as obstructionists. We're playing the colonists. We've got several boards. We're in a major chess match here, political chess match on several levels. We're playing chess or against the chartered colonies, the state ofs, right, based on our reclaimed territories. We're playing chess with the United States. We're playing chess with the United Nations. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of documents, a lot of paperwork, a lot of pen work, legislation, etc., to get the desired outcome, which is decolonization.
Right.
Right, which is them adhering to Moroccan law. So it's not going to be an overnight thing, Morris, but we're certainly on the path. We're all on the same freight train, and that train is picking up steam, it's picking up momentum. It is not at full speed yet, but it's building up. That speed is building up. You hear the horn going, jigga, 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 jigga. Oh, it's coming. Oh, it's coming. Many of us are aboard, and that train is moving. And it's going to run over any and all colonists and obstructionists who get in the way. And who are these obstructionists? Moorish American teachers and preachers and leaders. Just as well, Negro preachers, teachers, and leaders. They're all the same. One is called the Reverend, the other one is called an Imam, the other one is called the Grand Sheik. It's all the same. Some with fezzes, others without. But it's our own people who have put us in this subjugated position by selling out and keeping this information away from us. I'll ask again, in 2023, how is it that Moors haven't been guided to study their own Moorish treaties, their own Moorish treaties? Instead, it's enforce the Constitution, but what about our own Moorish treaties under international law? Understanding that treaty is the supreme law of the daggone land. Somebody been playing games with us, Moors. It's clear as day. It's obvious. This is why anything dealing with the old Moorish American paradigm, it makes my skin crawl when it comes up. When Moors speak on it, it makes my skin crawl. When Moors speak on it as combining it with international law and treaties, it makes me want to throw up. I don't want to hear nothing about the old paradigm, nothing. We got to choose between entire submission. We got to choose between one or the other. You can't ride the fence. There is no in between. It's either or. And so for me, I have absolutely rejected the old Moorish paradigm, every bit of it, and relearned. I had to reset my mindset to now take in international law and statehood, the new paradigm, the clean glass of water. In doing so, I can see things even clearer now. It's obvious where the prophet's literature was corrupted, and it's obvious where it's not. There's a certain sense of clarity that comes from understanding and studying international law and the history surrounding it. Gone are the days where you're gonna have me enforcing any constitution of any United States, major or minor, of or for. And I was a diehard Moorish American. But I'm also easily course corrected with the truth and the facts on matters. I don't cling to principles that allude to slavery. You show me the reference point of truth and fact about a particular subject, I'm going to look into it and course correct. I don't care who said what. With all due respect, the words of Prophet Noble Ali is not the supreme law of the land. Treaties is the supreme law of the land. And trust and believe I honor Prophet Noble Ali to the fullest. But he also did say not to worship him and instead study and carry on the laws. I yield with that on the floor. Any questions, comments, or concerns before we adjourn this meeting? Any comments?
I'm good.
No one? Islam? But we can close out. It's getting late. It's almost 11. But that's the notification. We didn't even get to go over the Vienna Convention on diplomatic relations. Perhaps we'll do that on the next call. Or maybe it'll be something else, because that's going to be a lengthy read. It's 164 pages. I'll pick and choose certain articles that are germane, and we'll do that. That's what we'll do. We'll cover it next week. And to go along with the today's session, dealing with consular notification and access. So as we see, even just with this flow chart here, for as a policy for the policy enforcers, or should I say law enforcement agents. Policy enforcer is a Moorish American term. I don't even want to use that term just because it's a Moorish American term. Anything I don't want to do. I don't even want to talk like that no more. I'm disappointed in hindsight, looking back at what really was going on. What I took a back seat and said, I'm not fooling with this Moorish movement no more until I see something better. That's when I came across AMPAG study sessions. But what kept me there was Prophet Noble Ali. I believed in Prophet Noble Ali. And the reason why I believed in Prophet Noble Ali is for one reason and one reason only. Y'all want to hear this reason? I'll tell you this reason. The reason why I believed in Noble Ali through all the drama and the obstacle and the issues that I dealt with as a Moorish American, that most people would have said, you know what, this Moorish crap is not it. I said, nah, this is it. It's just that we're learning from the wrong people. I could tell that. What kept my faith in Prophet Noble Ali is just merely and simply the fact that his teachings, his personality, has been kept a secret from us. That's the reason why I believed him. Not nothing I read. or anything that he said, but because he was hidden from us. And I already know how they play games, right? The one of great substance is who was hidden from you. For crying out loud, I mean, Al Capone and Marcus Garvey existed at the same time as Noble Drew Ali. They were contemporaries. They all existed at the same time. And you mean to tell me my whole life I have heard of Al Capone and Marcus Garvey? But it took until I was 35 to learn about who Noble Drew Ali was. And the term Moorish Science Temple of America. I guess I can say that the Grand Sheiks and the temples did an excellent job in promoting the prophet and the temples, didn't they? Sarcasm. What they did was do an excellent job in keeping it a damn secret when the prophet came in to unveil the secrets. Why is it that I've never seen fezzes all around when things happen within the Black community? You see Black Panthers, you see the RBG guys protesting, doing something. You don't ever see no fezzes. The Million Man March should have been a sea of fezzes. You don't see no fezzes. You don't see nothing relating to Moorish, nothing. Why is that? The same reason why Moors never heard of consular notification and access, or even how it actually works in a competent way, not based on the old civic Moor way. Because the civic Moor way of handling consular notification and access is what has the good brother Lamont L in jail right now. And there is no competent authority or a consul general who can come get him or work on his behalf. This is all due to the sellout, man. They did an excellent job with it. I have never heard of Prophet Noble Drew Ali or the Moorish Science Temple of America until I'm 35. And many Moors that I come across have that same experience. Our Deputy Wazir of AMPAG, she's in her 50s. She's just coming across Noble Drew Ali. Jay Bay, for example, 3-4 years ago, he just came across Noble Drew Ali in the Moorish movement. I should have been known about Noble from birth, the same way I know about Malcolm X and Martin Luther King since birth. And don't give me this excuse about, oh, well, you know, it's called Black History Month and Noble wasn't Black. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. Even in the Black consciousness movement, I've never heard of Noble Drew Ali. I heard of Huey P. Newton. I heard of Bobby Seals. I heard of Fred Hampton, Mutulu Shakur, Mumia Abu-Jamal, Geronimo Pratt, Assata Shakur. I could name all these names. Why can't I name out Noble? So that's what I knew. I knew I was on to something with this Moorish identity, not necessarily the movement. The movement got me locked up, and they'll say, "Oh, well, that's because you're incompetent." Nah, the process itself is incompetent, and I learned that process from R.E. Bay Publications. And they are the ones who told me that I was incompetent when I made contact about remedy for my situation, from messing around with your writs and affidavits and nationality cards. Oh, you were just being incompetent. Made me feel some type of way. I thought I was incompetent. Well, then this ain't for me then. So I came across an AMPAG study session. It was like, oh, now we're talking. Now we're talking. Now we're talking. And I started shedding all Moorish American crap out of my mind since then, and focused only on international law and statehood. I don't want to hear nothing about Moorish American, nothing. I don't want to hear nothing about no fiat. I don't want to hear nothing about none of that. Because the same people who's telling you it's fiat and it's fake money and it's this and that and 1933, they're selling you packages. So so on one hand, they're talking down at the dollar to you, while at the other hand, requesting donations. Oh, it's fiat, it has no value. Can you please leave a donation? Here's my cash app. Oh, well, make up your mind. If it ain't got no value, then why are you asking for donation? These Moors are something else. I love my people, but we need to be corrected. And the WRC is here to rein in the order, because we want to be lawless. We want to be able to do whatever we want to do without any, what do you call that? Without any pushback, without any, I'm forgetting the word. You guys know the word. I can't, it's at the tip of my tongue. Let's just say without any pushback. One of the issues, and I covered this in one of the classes, Brother Akeem Bey pointed it out to me. The Europeans were complaining, the Americans were complaining to the Sultan about the Sultan looking to have them control and deal with a large group of rogue Moors in the empire who were belligerent and didn't want to pay taxes. Like, you know, that's the spirit that we carry today. We're belligerent and we don't want to pay taxes. Now, I understand why we don't want to pay taxes. We're not supposed to be paying taxes, and that's for sure. But in order to not pay taxes, you have to be the competent authority to have them paying the taxes. So we can't have it, we can't operate this thing backwards. It's got to be in sequential order. First, establish your state, become the competent authority, to then now utilize your laws to force them to pay taxes, not the other way around. And I'm rambling. I got in my zone about us being sold out. The sellout is near and dear to my heart. It's heartbreaking for me to recognize and understand that we've been sold out by our own people, pretending to care about us, when in actuality, they have been leading us astray. And those people who have been leading us astray are on the list somewhere in the United States, under the authority of the WRC, will relinquish that list. So the time will come when we will find out exactly the names that are on that list. And those people will have to deal with fines, penalties, and confiscation. By who? Sharifian jurisdiction. I end with that. Peace and love, Moors. We'll talk to you next week. May the blessings of Allah be upon you all. Islam.
Islam.
Peace and love.
Islam.
Islam.
Peace and love, Islam.
Islam, Moors. Peace and love.